Hello and welcome to the Marketing Masterclass case study presentation. Through the generous support from Canadian Heritage, Working Culture, working closely with marketing specialists and partners, Kingston Arts Council and the Ottawa Arts Council have developed a marketing incubator program for arts and heritage organizations in Toronto, Kingston, and Ottawa. This case study is one component of the intensive training, and today's case study presentation is led by Megan Surrett, Associate Director of the Kingston Canadian Film Festival. The objective of these case studies is to learn from arts and heritage organizations that have implemented a marketing project that produced a favorable outcome, i.e. return on investment for the organization as a whole, for example, through sponsorship, promotional campaigns, digital platforms, or content. Each case study will include an overview of the organization, its marketing strategy, a challenge or opportunity they faced, the solution, and the results. Working Culture and partners thank all organizations who agreed to participate as case studies. Over to you, Megan.
Thanks, Mona, and thanks to everyone at Working Culture for the invitation to share a little bit about the festival as a case study for this project. So a very warm welcome from my home in Kingston, Ontario, which is located on Anishinaabe, Haudenosaunee, and Huron-Wendat territory. As Mona mentioned, my name is Megan Surrett, and I'm the Associate Director of the Kingston Canadian Film Festival. I've been with the festival for 7 years and have been the Associate Director for 4. We're a very small team consisting of 2 full-time year-round employees, and then we work with 15 contracted professional staff, as well as 15 to 25 interns and work study students from Queen's University, as well as a roster of about 200 volunteers in a normal year. Along with the festival director, I oversee and manage all aspects of the festival, including film programming, audience development, event management, logistics, fundraising, and marketing. And I also have a background in marketing and development in the arts sector, and I worked as a freelance designer, so I have experience on that side of things as well. The Kingston Canadian Film Festival, or KCFF as we call it, was founded in 2001 and is an annual celebration of Canadian film over 4 days in March. In a normal year, we welcome approximately 8,000 to 10,000 people to the 4-day festival, and approximately 100 filmmakers and industry guests participate in Q&As, special events, panel talks, and other programming. Our mission is to provide access to Canadian film in a dynamic festival setting. So we present screenings and events that provide a fresh experience of Canadian film. And it's in this experience that we foster and develop an audience that supports and encourages our national cinema and its creators. The festival dynamic is really crucial to what we do. So it's the atmosphere of the festival itself that encourages a dialogue and exchange between artist and audience. And it's through this dialogue that we offer the opportunity for audiences to develop their appreciation and understanding of Canadian film and Canadian storytelling. Most recently, on March 11th, 2020, we embarked on our 20th anniversary festival. And within 24 hours, the realities of COVID-19 made it very apparent that we couldn't continue as planned. And so we canceled the remainder of the festival. So while it was initially devastating to be in the midst of a festival and have to cancel, it also gave us time to figure out how to proceed in 2021, which was a luxury that so many of our colleagues didn't have that year. And then just earlier this year in the winter in 2021, we presented a fully digital festival on an on-demand streaming platform, which I'll share more about later in the case study. Our primary marketing objective really refers back to our mission and mandate around the festival dynamic and experience as a way that we build an audience that is engaged in and supports Canadian cinema and the artists who create it. And our primary messaging is centered around the experience itself, that the festival is an experience that is deeper and richer and more dynamic than just going to the movies on a Tuesday night or watching something on Netflix. Our primary objective is to provide points of entry to the festival, either through the film programming or other complementary programming like music, comedy, speaker series events, and workshops as a way of inviting new audiences into the experience. And we found that this has been a really successful strategy for engaging audiences and sparking curiosity to attend for the first time, which has then translated into continued engagement and returns in subsequent years, as well as increased box office and an increased attendance overall. We tend to approach our marketing in a very organic and grassroots way, which was a strategic decision made at the board level. So as a bit of background and context, KCFF has gone through a tremendous amount of organizational growth in the last 10 years. We've tripled our operating budget. We have full-time year-round staff, which wasn't the case for the first decade of the organization. And our audiences have been increasing by 10 to 15% year after year. But in addition to the growth, we've actually had to balance our organizational capacity and stability, as well as actual capacity in our venues, which was incredibly difficult because we were selling out festival screenings, which was a really nice problem to have, of course, but it did mean that we needed to be very specific about how we marketed the festival. We use a lot of the standard marketing platforms that other small arts organizations use, including the mailing list, social media, small advertising spends, and a lot of in-kind media and advertising support. And we have a huge emphasis on grassroots reciprocal marketing exchanges with community groups and other partners. Our approach is to retain audiences each year and then incrementally invite new audiences to the festival through partnerships and community building, where new audiences can attend and experience the festival firsthand. We don't have a marketing department, but we normally hire contract positions in areas that support our efforts, including social media and community partnership interns. Our challenge was in figuring out how we were going to capture the essence of the festival and really maintain the experiential qualities that we valued so much, like the Q&As and a sense of community and shared experience on a virtual platform. So we recognized, though, that the digital platform was an incredible opportunity for the festival to expand its audiences in ways that we couldn't have previously because we were restricted by small venues and somewhat limited capacity. So we wanted to strike a balance between maintaining a relationship with our existing audience and connecting with new patrons. And we wanted to make the digital festival experience just as approachable for those who had attended for years and years as those who had never attended and were attending for the first time. We were concerned about screen fatigue and general apathy to the at-home on-demand screening experience, and so wanted to build out a sense that this was going to be different. So similar to how we have worked to ensure that the festival is a different experience to the commercial theater, the digital festival would be a different experience than other streaming services. I think it's important to mention that we recognized that we had the advantage of presenting work that was already digitized and that audiences were used to watching at home, which I appreciate is not necessarily the case for performing arts organizations or cultural institutions and other heritage groups. And so we really wanted to rise to the occasion and meet these challenges and embrace the potential of the digital festival with the awareness that we maybe didn't have quite as complex a challenge as some of our colleagues. After quite a bit of research and looking to other festivals for a sense of what was possible and weighing a bunch of options, we decided that the solution was to develop an on-demand streaming platform using Eventive, which is an American-based virtual platform that can handle all of our needs, including hosting content, and then offering a ticketing solution as well as a really robust customer service support. We did look at Canadian platform options, but found that Eventive really offered a comprehensive product with a lot of the functions that we needed at a modest price point, which wasn't available from a Canadian company. We also went with Eventive because it had encryption and anti-piracy software and a really user-friendly interface, both on the back end for us as festival administrators, but also on the customer side. Most importantly, though, it included live stream capabilities where Q&As on Zoom would essentially be patched over to Eventive, and audiences could ask questions through a chat function directly in the streaming browser. So this was a really important aspect of the festival that we endeavored to maintain with the virtual experience. We developed a schedule where films would premiere at a set day and time over the 10 days of the festival, and it would be accompanied by the live stream Q&A immediately following, which mimicked the same schedule as the live festival. The film content could be accessed anytime, and the Q&As were also recorded and available afterward in case patrons weren't able to watch during the scheduled time. Eventive even included a built-in platform for our People's Choice Award, which is really an incredible bonus because it's another aspect of the festival experience that our patrons really love and get really into. Because of the uncertainty of how a digital festival was going to be received and how we were going to be impacted by things like screen fatigue and general pandemic fatigue, we were very conservative about our box office projections, and our marketing budget reflected that. So rather than investing heavily and adding additional pressure on our team in a year where we're already having to change so much, we decided to keep our marketing approach rooted in the same strategies, even though the festival was going to be presented digitally. We kept the same key messages of KCFF around the festival experience and really concentrated our efforts on supporting this aspect of the digital festival. So in 2021, we focused on the Q&As and the live stream component that mimicked the in-person experience. We extended the festival to 10 days rather than 4, which gave patrons longer to stream content at home. For existing audiences, this meant that they were able to enjoy the festival at a more leisurely pace than they were accustomed to. And then we were also able to leverage the success of the first couple of days of the festival, and this allowed for last-minute purchases, even a few minutes before the festival technically ended. We worked on leveraging the networks and resources of long-term patrons and our regular audiences, as well as other partners and sponsors to support the marketing efforts of the 2021 festival. We centralized our efforts to leverage the reach of our existing audiences as ambassadors of the festival. So many purchased tickets for friends and family outside of Kingston, and then created really cool ways to connect via Zoom after to discuss the movies. We also leveraged the reach of one of our presenting sponsors, Tourism Kingston, as a way that we could reach new audiences that had a connection to Kingston and would be interested in traveling to the area after COVID, and would potentially also travel to the region for the festival in the future. So Tourism Kingston included KCFF in its winter campaign and targeted the GTA and Golden Horseshoe, as well as Montreal and eastern townships of Quebec. So anywhere from a 2 to 4 hour drive of Kingston. One of their brands, Visit Kingston, was featured in our festival, and Kingston itself has always been a really important aspect of our festival, and so we were able to have Kingston represented on this digital space with this collateral. And then finally, we worked with Queen's University and the Limestone District School Board to build the festival experience for their students, and so that featured extended Q&As and other ways for students to participate throughout. We were really surprised at the response, and it exceeded our very modest projections. So our box office sales were over 3 times what we had projected, and our virtual attendance was close to 10,000, which really rivaled attendance at our 2019 in-person festival. We were really pleased with that response and being able to hold steady during a year of such upheaval and uncertainty and a significant change to the actual delivery of the festival programming. We heard from both audiences and filmmakers that components of the festival we worked so hard to maintain still felt really tangible on a digital space. Many remarked that after a year of viewing things in isolation, that it was a really valuable opportunity to connect and chat about Canadian film and filmmaking. With the analytics from Eventive, we were able to see that our efforts to build an audience beyond Kingston was really successful. And that opportunity that was there, we were successful in seeing that and leveraging that as an incredible opportunity for the festival to build. So 37% of the audience this year was new, with the majority of that number coming from people located in the GTA. we have a really solid sense of where exactly those people were coming from. So with specific postal codes in Toronto, which will help us to develop marketing strategies in the future. We could also see that over 70% of those first-time patrons purchased multiple tickets. And so they were showing a level of engagement beyond a single transaction. And so we'll work with Tourism Kingston and our hospitality partners to build out experience packages with these patrons in mind. The data from this festival also makes a compelling case to continue to build the organizational infrastructure to support more venues and larger venues when the festival starts to present in-person programming again. So with the level of interest and the possibility for future engagement at the festival, we can do the work behind the scenes to make sure there's room to accommodate these new patrons. From an organizational perspective, in my experience, one of the factors of our success is that we have a very clear vision in how the festival supports Canadian film. So it's not just that we present Canadian work, which is important, of course, but it's in creating an experience of Canadian film that remains central to our vision and our activities. As a small organization, we're able to be quite nimble and flexible about the way we work, which has helped us adapt and respond to the changing dynamics of the last 15 months. But we still use the clarity of the vision within the organization as a point of reference to return to each year. I think the success of the digital festival and the relatively seamless transition to a digital space speaks to how valuable this clear and concise vision can be. It's the festival experience that new and returning audiences will remember year after year and will support our continued organizational growth and stability. Just to close, I'd offer that while it might seem simple or perhaps even oversimplified to focus on the concept of a festival experience, and it can actually be quite daunting and complicated to unpack in a way that can be identified and replicated in a digital space. There are so many intangible qualities to the dynamic of what a festival means. All of our organizations have these intangible qualities. And I think we benefit from starting to articulate how they become alive in our organization, in our programming, and in our communities, so that we can start to leverage those qualities in new ways and connect with new audiences. And then finally, if you'd like to learn more about the festival, you can find us at kingcanfilmfest.com, where you can also sign up for our newsletter, and you can also find a staff list that includes my contact information. Our social is King Can Film Fest, in case you'd like to find us there. And our next festival is scheduled for March 12, 2022. And so we're aiming for a hybrid model that will include on-demand content via Eventive, and all things being well, will include some in-person screenings as well. So you can follow us on social and on our mailing list and be the first to hear about our plans for the next iteration of the festival. Thanks again to Mona and everyone at Working Culture for inviting us to be a case study for this project. And then finally, to everyone who will watch this presentation, just wishing you continued success in your marketing efforts. So Mona, I'll pass it back to you to close out.
Great, thank you so much, Megan. That was wonderful. It was very informative, and I hope to those organizations that are watching, you learned a few things about putting on a digital festival, as well as some applications and how they could help with your marketing efforts. So thank you so much, Megan, for sharing that. And I also wanted to thank once again that this project has been made possible in part by the Government of Canada. And we'd also like to thank our delivery partners for their support, the Kingston Arts Council and the Ottawa Arts Council. And also thanks to all the organizations who are participating as case studies. So we hope this was helpful and that you stay tuned for more case study presentations.